Welcome to the best ever thrifting guide you'll ever find. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I kind of got some experience. And I've already proved it to you guys that I can make some good thrift finds, combine some good thrift finds. So I thought it's that time in my life, It's that time in my professional thrifting career to show you how I do it and how I make the most out of each and every one of my thrifting adventures. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Oh my god, I'm so excited because thrifting is just the best. If you've never tried it before, this is your first time trying to figure out what thrifting is and how you should get into it, I got you. Don't worry. I've got a little thing for everyone, each level, beginner to professional expertise. We got everything. Please don't take me too seriously. This is a very unhinged video of thrifting, but all of the things that I'm going to share with you in this video are very, very informational. Just the way I will come across will be like, she's a bit off. It's just me. It's just my personality. So I'm letting it shine in every facet of my life. As I said before, thrifting is a fun experience. Thrifting can be so much more than just getting out and buying and shopping for clothes. It can be a spiritual experience if you wanted it to. It can be a very surface level experience. It can be just going out and actually looking out for clothes. It can be a lot. You decide. That's what's fun about thrifting. To some of you, thrifting can be a new endeavor that you are just looking into. To some of you, it's something that you've done your whole life. Secondhand clothing is a very good way for people to access average, good, low quality clothing on a way cheaper level than what you have in an average market store, as in what you would get at the mall. Usually some of these clothes that you get access to in a thrift shop were previous or current collections of said stores, and usually you get them for cheap. Nowadays, there are many ways for you to shop secondhand clothing. It doesn't have to be going to a store and purchasing items that you find on the rack. It can be through online platforms, outlet stores. I would say those are also considered secondhand in some way. I mean, outlet stores are more clothes from previous collections that the owners of the outlet store or the distributors bought at the end of the collection when they were on sale, and now they are selling it around the same price as it was on sale, or maybe marked up a little bit. So outlet stores differ in the fact that those clothes were never actually used. Secondhand clothes, thrift shops, charity shops are more clothes that have been already used. If you are lucky enough to get or find stuff that still has the tag on, it means that most probably it was never used. But you can get it for way cheaper as in an outlet store. Nowadays, there are even secondhand like subscriptions that you can get online. And there are a lot of cool ways to access secondhand clothes that are still in very good condition for a lower price. There are a lot of sites that you can check out if you've never been into the thrift store hands-on experience. You can still buy and access clothes for way cheaper than their average market price. So I usually prefer to go in store and kind of get my hands on the clothing. But if that's something that you don't really like, you don't like the experience, maybe you've had some previous traumatizing experiences with thrift store clothing, then be sure to check out these websites. Besides outlet and secondhand charity shops, you also got the so-called vintage stores, which offer more branded clothing for, I would say, a higher price than average thrift store clothing, but lower price, way lower price than branded clothing. So in vintage shops, you can get a lot of eclectic pieces, a lot of branded clothes like from Chanel, Prada, Gucci, whatever. And sometimes the prices are way above market price because of its vintage characteristics. But sometimes you may also find clothing that is branded but way lower than nowadays. So, it depends on the vintage stores that you go in. Sometimes the vintage stores also have a lot of upcycled clothing. So the owner of the shop or some of the designers that they work with might get their hands on some pieces and then fabricate a new one, and then that's also another experience in of itself. And on the topic of stores and vintage stores and outlook, sometimes the reason why people don't really enjoy going into thrift stores is because they've got a certain scent to them, they've got a certain outlook to them. It's not that appealing to the eye, and you might need to put in some effort to actually find stuff that you might like and that also has good quality. However, nowadays I see that a lot of thrift shop chains as well as stores in general might work on the outlook of the store, so creating you more of a pleasant experience than if you were to go into just a pile of clothing, which I find it's also interesting because they're trying to cater towards an audience which is also into aesthetics. Why choose thrifting at all, right? What can you actually get out of it? Thrifting is a sustainable shopping option. So if you are looking more into how can you shop more sustainably, thrift shops are a way to go. Besides the sustainability movement, you're also supporting some local owners. Now, of course, why thrift? It's cheaper, and sometimes you can get the same quality stuff that you were to get in a fast fashion clothing store. But I found that most of my pieces that I bought from a thrift shop lived on for many years. However, I can't say that this is the same for my fast fashion clothing that I bought. So it has its durability to it, especially if you can manage to get some good denim clothing. It will live on for many years and you'll get it for cheaper. Another thing, you can get more stuff for less money and still manage to look fashionable at the same time. And of course, it gives you an opportunity for style exploration. And I will be talking about this a little bit later on. Let us talk about the basis of thrifting, right? Many people complain about the fact that they just never manage to get what they want. It's never that easy to thrift. Well, it could be because you might have not set the right intentions. So setting an intention before going is very important. It's what I do, and I always manage to get mostly what I want or get a good outcome out of it in general. Asking the question of why are you actually going thrifting? Because as I told you before, thrifting can mean different things at different times in your life. Do you go for social purposes, with your friends, going out thrifting, having the thrifting experience? You actually want to look for something or just see what they have, and maybe if you find something, you might buy it. Are you looking for clothes for yourself or maybe for others? That's also a good intention to set, because sometimes if you look you might find stuff for your parents, friends, whatever. So asking yourself why are you actually going is a really good way to start setting your intention. Now, are you looking for something specific, or you want to be surprised? Or is there something in between? Usually what I found is that whenever I'm going in with a set expectation, a list of stuff that I want to get, I never find them, because thrifting is more so about going in and you're eye-catching something. You look at it and you're like, wow, I want this, and then you buy it. But sometimes you might have some expectations set in place of what you're looking for, patterns, styles, or whatever, which is also good. But then you might need to be more on the lookout for stuff, and also more acknowledging of the fact that you might not be able to find the exact thing that you're looking for. Do you have a budget? Are you looking to spend the next amount of money, or are you tight on your budget? Because maybe some thrift stores that you can go in and buy clothes for cheaper, and you might go there if you have a lower budget. If you have a higher budget, you might go into vintage shops or outlet stores. So depending on your budget, you can kind of direct yourself towards what stores you want to go in. Do you have any style preferences? Do you have any style preferences set in stone? So is there a specific style that you're looking for, or just wanting it to figure out as you move on? Let's touch on thrifting and style. Most thrift shops are not designated style areas as you were to find in some of the fast fashion stores. Like, Pull & Bear is more urban fashion than Stradivarius, which can kind of touch on some cottagecore, preppy style of clothing. But most thrift shops do not have this feature. So you've got a mixture of different kind of styles. What do? There's a lot of variety of clothes. So thrifting can be overwhelming to some who don't have any set style preferences in place, so they might get lost. This is why a lot of people don't actually like it, because there is a lot of variety to choose from. And sometimes the clothing comes in plus sizes or bigger sizes because that's what they could find. And so it's hard to actually find something that might work for you. However, because of this, if you don't have a set in stone style preference, thrifting can actually help you develop or try out new styles. It can help you step out of your comfort zone once in a while, because if you just try on the clothing in the store and you actually like it on you, you bring it home, it's something that you can start to experiment with for, I would say, a lower price. Trying on new clothes and experimenting with your style is way more affordable this way than if you were to buy them at a fast fashion store, in the mall, or maybe just branded stuff. You know what? Take a shot every time I say thrift shop, but don't die, please. However, thrift shops can steer you into different style directions, which I love. To be honest, I think thanks to thrift shops, I now have my own style preferences, which is very much boho, cottagecore, but still witchy. But you got a lot of options. So you got to go in and kind of experiment, see what you like, choose according to that. But if you already have some style preferences, just look for those. And I promise you, there's so many things to choose from that I guarantee that you will find something that you like. And never be afraid to go a little bit crazy with it. When we talk about style, we talk about your own idea of what looks good on you, how do you present yourself? Because there's one thing talking about fashion and trends, but it's another to find your own style, which is a journey in and of itself, and it might change and evolve, but still there are certain things that are the same. So looking into what you like, looking into what you prefer, what makes you feel happy, what helps you express your inner feelings, your inner personality more, is so much fun. And thrift shops can really accommodate you on that journey. What I've learned from my own thrifting journeys: be open-minded every time you go. You never know what you might find, and that's just the best thing about it. If you don't like it the moment you try it on, or if it doesn't fit you like a glove, don't get it. I've learned this. Only buy something if you feel like you could wear it 5 times in a month. This is a very low level, but if you buy something and you just know that you're never going to wear it, then there's no reason for getting it. You might actually take someone else's clothing choice, but also you'll regret it later on, and it's just going to sit in your wardrobe and you cannot do anything with it. If it doesn't really match with anything in your wardrobe, don't get it. Because I found that if I look at something and I immediately have 2 or 3 pieces in my closet that I can match it with and combine it with, I know that I will get a wear out of it. But if I just get it for the sake of it and I have nothing to pair it with, then it loses its purpose. And I also mean this with colors as well. It's okay to experiment with colors, but if you already have a set in stone color palette that you prefer, why buy a different color of something that you might not wear because it doesn't match with anything? This is something that I don't feel like I should say, but it's important to be mentioned. Look at the clothes carefully. Make sure that there's no discoloring on them, a rip on them, a seam going astray, because then it's just gonna be a pain in your ass. One really important thing, look at the basics as well, because I would say a lot of average thrift stores have a lot of patterns, a lot of vibrant colors, and sometimes I forget to look at the basics, and then I go home and then I have like 5 skirts with different colors, patterns, and then 5 tops with different patterns and colors, and it's just not gonna work, you know? Because I like combining basics with something more out there. So look out for the basics. Look out for denim, good quality denim. Look out for good like black, white, beige turtlenecks, bodysuits, stuff like that. Stick to your favorite stores most of the time, but don't be shy to also venture out into new ones. Check for when they have price drops or sales, because then you can get stuff for even cheaper. Same stuff. For example, there's one store in my hometown which does this price drop. They have a few days when they drop the prices for their clothes and everything costs the same. So if you manage to find something that is really cool and maybe even branded, you can get it for way cheaper. Try on whatever sparks your interest, even if you feel like that it's not gonna fit you, because you might never know. You might actually discover something about your style. You might actually discover that certain things look good on you, and you're not making a commitment, you're just trying to get on, you don't need to buy it. So keep that in mind. And these two are more so to make your thrift shopping experience more comfortable. Wear basic clothing that can be matched with anything. This is because you never know what you might find, and you might need some references to match the pieces with. Because remember, we're not shopping for clothes, we're shopping for outfits, right? Because we gotta put together something every day. This sounded so weird, but you know what I mean. Usually, I don't shop for the pieces themselves. I already have like a set in stone outfit or style that I can make out of the clothes. So if you already have some basic pieces on, you already kind of have a basic palette of how things are going to look in your everyday life. So if you have a basic top on with like a colorful skirt that you found, it's going to make more sense, because in your head you can already picture how this can match with your closet at home. And this is just a tip. You don't need to take it that seriously, but avoid wearing a lot of makeup. It's just gonna be easier for you to get in and out of clothes, and also not to stain the clothes, because as I said before, it's not the best experience to find something cool and then you have makeup stains all over them. Thrifting requires some time. It requires a bit of a devotion to the craft, because there is a routine to it, I would say. And I don't do it often, but sometimes I check in the stores to see what they've got, if they got some new stuff. So how often should you go depends totally on you. Some people go weekly or 2 or 3 times a week just to check if there's new stuff, that's just to check if there are sale drops. But not all of us can afford this, not only monetarily, but time wise as well. But I would say that if you've got some time on the weekends, why not? Once a week or bi-weekly, checking out if they've got some new stuff. If you are really on the hunt for certain clothing pieces, would be good. But if you're just going, to see if you can get something cool, if you can refresh your wardrobe, then you don't need to go that much. When I'm home, because my hometown is pretty small, I can access these stores very easily. So I might go once or twice a week even to see if they've got some new stuff, if they have price drops. But if you live in a big city and these stores are not that accessible for you, then going less is totally okay. There's no set time of how you should go, when you should go. Also, some people tend to do this, but some stores actually might display when they got new stuff. I've heard some very bad stories with that. Like, there are circulating legends in my hometown about thrifting chaos, thrifting hazards, and I would recommend you try it out once to see how this experience is when they have new stuff. But I would say there's not a specific time that you should go. I also believe that some clothes are just meant to find you. This might be like a very spiritual perspective, but sometimes you just find the most random clothes that you will wear forever. And I believe that clothes are meant to find you that way. What I love about thrifting in general is that it gives you this sense of control in a way. You know, you go in and you control your experience. You might make it this very cool social thing when you grab coffee with your friends and you go into thrift shops, and then maybe you challenge yourselves by dressing each other into certain stuff. A lot of cool challenges can be done in thrift shops, and I think those places can actually help you, as I said before, be the catalyst for your style. It's like a brewing pot of clothes and style possibilities, and it can really push you into a direction that you might never thought you could go in. So I like it because it's also a social experience. You can also meet some really cool people there, and making it more acceptable to wear thrift shop clothing, because there was a time when it was actually looked down upon. And now I feel like it's really cool that we are normalizing it and we are making it cool, because it's a really cool thing. I will be showing you some of my best thrift finds that I have with me. Okay, so just a quick run through. You might have seen me in this cardigan, this denim skirt, which is just so cute. One of my most endearing pieces ever. But this kitty cat, this very flowy shirt. And then recently I bought two pieces of clothing which were like an outfit in and of itself. It's a new thing for me to try out, not gonna lie. I bought these cargo pants. Thank you so much for joining. I really hope you got something out of this. And do not take a shot every time I say thrift shop, because you will die. So, with that said, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below anything you want. I will appreciate it. So be sure to check out my channel for more thrifting, styling, fashion content, and a bit of witchy spirituality stuff. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.